Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Spawn Universe. I am Phil, and once again, we're going to go into do a deep dive on some classic Spawn. I mean, eventually, one day, we'll hopefully catch up. But again, only episode 3. So this time, again, we kind of detoured last time for our Christmas episode, but this time, we're going to get back to going in order here and cover Spawns 5 through 8, who, for those of you Spawn historians, may know, get the first appearance of Billy Kincaid and a bunch of other characters, some Spawn nemesis. So, all right. Let's jump into this because we got a four issues again, just like the first episode. All right, so let's dive in and get this going. All right, so put the cover up here. All right, so there we go. We got to cover those the production quality of the time. It almost looks like a painted cover, although that might just be from the little bit of the art style, a little bit of the digitization of comics. You know, the modern digitization of comics. All right, so Spawn number 5, cover date October 1992. Writers Todd McFarlane and Terry Fitzgerald, penciler Todd McFarlane, inker Todd McFarlane. Well, this guy's busy. Colorist Steve Oliff, Ruben Rude, and Oleoptics. Letterer and editor Tom Morzowski. All right. So the title is Justice. At the Wingate Institution, Billy Kincaid has read his rights and claimed to be a cured man. He's being released from jail after good behavior. Billy smiles as he coyly still dreams of killing small children. Yep. He was placed in prison for 22 years, out in 10 on good behavior for being caught for the murder of a senator's daughter, Amanda Jennings. He had pulled out her teeth and placed maggots into her wounds in a heinous crime. At that moment, he half fantasizes how he's killed at least 29 children by luring them to his ice cream truck and then abducting them, and how he's bid his time to be released so he could return to his activities. As he leaves, Billy sings about ice cream, and Sam Burke, who is standing behind him, screams that he's insane and not actually cured. Sam believes that the murder of Amanda Jennings was not an isolated incident. Sam thinks about how he's played by the law, but the law sometimes doesn't win. That evening, the news reports about the release of Billy Kincaid. In Queens, Wanda puts Cyan to sleep in her crib while Spawn falls asleep in an alleyway amongst trash and rubble. Sam and his partner, Twitch Williams, discuss the release of Billy at the New York City Police headquarters. They agree to perform a midnight stakeout to see if Billy has reformed. Billy takes Shirley Johnson, who comes up to his truck for ice cream and finger paints. Cyan is excited to see Wanda after daycare. We get that scene. And again, one of the advantages to the Spawn comic over, like, say, Marvel or DC is, like, these characters are allowed to age in real time, because here, like, again, Cyan's like a toddler in the current comic. She's what, a teenager? So, if not older. So even if they're not aging exactly in real time, they're still aging. So, so yeah, we did the daycare. Bums get hit by cops. Uh, yes, bums get hit by cops. Yeah, who basically are just chasing through the alleys and don't even care, if they run over the bums or not. Spawn over here recalls us. He was here. He was hired by Jennings for a hit on Kincaid, but the cops got to him first. The problem was they found all the mutilated bodies, but evidence went missing, and then the shack blew up. Jason Wynn, Al's former employer, then told everyone to drop the case. So again, if his all the murders he personally ordered weren't enough to convince you how evil he is, yes, Jason Wynn was covering for a child molester. So, uh, with Sam and Twitch on stakeout outside Billy's house, Spawn sneaks in through the back. When he spots Shirley Johnson's bloody dress, he moves into the house. Twitch spots a caved figure in the back, and they both move in. Inside the house, they find the evidence, but no Billy. At New York City Police Headquarters, Sam and Twitch begin plotting their search for Billy when they walk into a back room. They find Billy Kincaid's body, bloodied and strung up with chains, and a note that reads, "Boy screamed and girl screamed, so I made him scream and scream and scream." So, yes, Spawn has dealt his vigilante justice out to Billy Kincaid. And and kids, this isn't the last we're going to see of Billy Kincaid. You'd wish, but no, this isn't the last. Oh yeah, trivia. Cyan has a Cerebus doll in her crib. For those of you who don't know who Cerebus is, stay tuned for next episode because he is going to make an appearance in a Spawn comic. And then again, a lot of these early issues were dedicated to like big figures in the comic industry. This issue was dedicated to Will Eisner, one of the biggest in like the comic book and cartooning industries. Who created the Spirit, if you don't know. So, and again, the Eisner Awards, the comic awards, are named after him. So yes, big name in comics. All right, so yes, we got the first appearance of Billy Kincaid, and as I said, won't be the last. So won't even be the last in this episode. So, all right, So again, early on, Spawn just dealing with a lot of Earth-based threats. I mean, what in this episode one we did the Violator, but yeah, as we get on, again, more Earthbound threats this time. But yeah, by next episode, yeah, we're gonna start getting into more supernatural threats, and things are just gonna keep escalating as we go on, kids. So, all right, let's get to issue 6. Just put the cover up for those of you watching on YouTube here. All right. There we go. And another new villain. All right. Waiting for this to load. All right. Spawn number 6 from cover date November 1992. Payback Part 1. Writer, penciler, and inker Todd McFarlane. Colorist Steve Oliff, Ruben Rude, and Optics again. And again, letter and editor Tom Warzowski. In Sicily, Overtkill takes down a building for the mafia. When the military shows up, he quickly dispatches them after taking several rounds of bullets and explosive damage. He leaves virtually unscathed. And again, if you're watching on the on YouTube, yes, Overtkill is the cyborg gentleman on the cover there. Sorry. Boy, my screen's jumping around tonight. Freddy, a hobo, gives Spawn's location in exchange for drugs. However, the mobsters kill him before completing their end of the bargain. The mobsters report back to Antonio Twistelli. So yeah, Tony Twist, kids. And again, Tony, along with other, has plans for this alley, and Spawn has mucked them up. So, meanwhile, in the alley, several homeless people offer comfort to Spawn. They invite him to sit next to them and share his story. They don't want Spawn to be afraid of them, as he always sits aloof. Spawn tells them his backstory with Wanda and Cyan. When two When two mobsters start wasting random bums looking for Spawn, Al shows up and takes them out. At a meeting with the mobsters, Gavino recommends Overkill to take out Spawn. That evening, the two square off. While Overkill easily overpowers him, Spawn does trick him into messing up his robot hand before being rendered near death. Spawn refuses to use his powers to spare them as long as possible so he can continue to live on Earth and ask questions about his past. Overkill walks away, unaware that Spawn is still alive. Spawn heals himself with his necroplasm and heads to a warehouse to pick up guns and ballistics. Uh, so yes, kids, this is a famous scene between the comics and the HBO animated series. So yes, and a big trend of the '90s: characters carrying big guns, big weapons, big guns, ammunition, all of it. So. And Al knows about this weapons depot from his time before he died working for Jason Wynn. So, and again, this is the first appearance of Overkill. And this issue was dedicated to, again, I'm sure even if you weren't a comics fan, you would know the name Stan Lee. So yes, this issue was dedicated to Stan Lee.
Excelsior.
That's Stan Lee. Yes. Again, even if you don't never read a comic, you probably know him from his cameos in the Marvel movie, in the MCU, and so yes, Al had to waste a little bit of his necroplasm to heal himself, and yeah, remember the meter? I mean, I can't remember when we kind of finally unofficially dropped the power meter, and well, Al will find ways, spoilers in the future, to recharge, but yeah, we don't see the meter anymore. I guess it's not it's not really doesn't affect things because he found ways to recharge. Then he gets overpowered, and right now, again in the current comics, the dead zones have encompassed the entire Earth. So pretty much everybody with heaven connected to heaven or hell has no power. So all right, shall we get to the next one? Again, this one was a lot of setup, showing you who Overkill was and Spawn getting closer to the bums in the alley. But yeah, now we're gonna ramp up here. All right. And that is a cool cover too. All right. So Spawn number 7, cover date January 1993, Payback Part 2. Pretty much the same team. Again, McFarlane doing writing, pencils, and inks. Colors just this time is just Steve Oliff and Ruben Rude. I think the Oli Optics is probably like a digital color, maybe, or with either way. I'm sure it's either a nickname or a name of a company, but they're not involved in this one. Tom Morzowski again, letters and edits. Spawn hurries his scavenger mission as U.S. troops burst into the room in this weapons depot he went to. Rather than fight them, he teleports away to save their lives. And again, waste, well, I want to say waste, but yeah, uses more of his finite power. And again, the cover, if you're not watching this on YouTube, yeah, go watch it on YouTube. Because yeah, the cover to 7, yeah, it kind of gives you the hint of the kind of weapons Al's going to use. Reappearing in the alley, a drunk bum helps him and offers him alcohol. When the bums take off Spawn's mask, he's not too surprised by Al's look. Spawn realizes they accept him and don't care about outside appearances. Spawn cries out and experiences a flashback. He can't recall his killer's face, but is given hints. He keeps seeing pictures of the Grim Reaper in his mind. The Grim Reaper tells him it was a pleasure killing him and he would have done it even if he wasn't getting paid for it. Snapping back to reality, he runs from the alleyway. And again, this it'll keep coming up. Al's killer, and it kind of gets retconned after a while, and it changed. But the original reveal of the killer, the big hint is it has to do with another image book at the time. So, and again, the Grim Reaper, or like the symbolism of a skull, kind of plays a big hint in that. Mm-mm-mm. Antonio Twistelli, again, Tony Twist, asks who Overkill will work for if Bartino dies. So, yes, Tony Twist already trying to get Overkill in his on his payroll. And again, I mean, yeah, no one really knows Spawn at this point. But again, I think Tony's like, well, if he can take out Spawn, yes, this is a guy I want to have on the payroll. Mm. In Queens, New York, Wanda Blake wakes up screaming, "Stop! Don't kill him!" Terry Fitzgerald comforts her and tells her he'll check Al's files again when she pleads that he was murdered and didn't die in action. Spawn, sorry. Spawn decides to take on the mafia. He takes off the cape as it would only get in the way. Unknown to him, the cape follows him as he walks away. Wanda's curious about when Al visited her in disguise. Not that she knows it was Al. When she checks at the local pound, she learns that no man matching her description of the man works there. She begins pondering if Terry is in trouble and the man was spying on them. So yeah, Terry's like, oh, maybe he's from the organization. Spawn breaks into a high-rise mob building where he threatens Twistelli. He tells him to deliver a message to Overkill to meet him in battle at the nearby park. Overkill shows up at the park and is quickly destroyed by the ballistic Spawn brought with him. Yes, we call this the the '90s solution, kids. Uh, so yes, as much as yes, Overkill was a threat before, now he's not quite the threat he was. And again, when Spawn delivers the message that Tony basically blows out the wall of one of the walls of his office, and so again, when Overkill shows up, he's like, "Oh, you should have let me think you were dead." And yeah, and the funny thing here is like Al again, we start to get hints that the costume's alive because Al leaves his cape behind for this fight, but it starts like slithering away after him, trying to catch up to him. Uh, and again, Al is packing a bunch of '90s weaponry. We get a kind of like a cool sideways splash page from Todd during the fight as Al like blows a hole through Overkill's chest with one of those big '90s weapons. Mm, basically, yeah, just blows them up, rips them to pieces, and then mm, 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 then basically just like blows up the whole place where they're fighting. All right. So yeah. So as we see, yes, Spawn at this point, Spawn has finite powers, but he is also showing off his former military training from his previous life. So again, it's not just going to be superpowers here. We've at this point we discover, oh, well, this guy's one of the best killers of the world, who was the best, one of the best killers in the world. So yes, his military training will come in very handy as he doesn't want to use too much power. All right, let's get to Spawn number 8. And again, this one's going to be interesting because Al Simmons, well, kind of like in an like I don't know, like a nightmarish hallucination, but as the real Al Simmons doesn't actually appear in this issue. So you're like, well, who could it be then? So, oh yes, and I believe Spawn number 8. Yes, starting at this point, I forget how long this went, but Todd would have guest writers write it, like some of the big names in comics at the time. So, and it's interesting because I mean we'll get into this in future episodes, but like some of the stuff these writers did for like the stuff involved in the stories they wrote, like get kind of written into Spawn history. Like this issue 8, we're gonna get into like the levels of hell, and yeah, that's a big point going forward for a long time. And I mean, we'll get when we get there, we'll get there probably yeah next episode. But Angela, the character, yeah, there was big rights issues with her, and eventually she gets sold off to Marvel and basically becomes the sister of Thor and Loki. Yeah, it's a long story, but yeah, like I said, we'll get to that next time because next episode will be the first appearance of Angela. All right, but this time, yes, we're gonna do Spawn number 8, February 1993, in heaven. Then in parentheses, everything is fine, and it's all got quotes around it. So yes, in heaven, quote quote. All right, so yes, the first guest writer this time. This one's written by Alan Moore, who you may know from such famous stories as like Batman, the Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen, uh, his famous run on Swamp Thing. And I'm sure I'm not doing justice to this man's body of work, but yes, if you're know anything about comic history, yeah, you've run into the name Alan Moore. But Todd is still penciling and inking this, and yeah, everyone's still the same team, same creative team, except Alan Moore is driving the car on this one. So, all right, kids. So I told you you'd be back. Billy Kincaid is reborn in hell. He drops out of a green goo and immediately kills animals to cover his naked body. He is continually and randomly terrorized by flashbacks of Spawn killing him. So yeah, that's pretty much the only hint we get of Spawn, because yeah, Al Simmons is not in hell at the moment. He runs into a half-naked woman and a small group of individuals. A small girl explains to him about the culture of hell as they are systematically picked off. A soul trapper takes people off to the sixth sphere of hell to sing for them. Others are picked off by the prime nomad to serve as hardware in a macro computer on the 10th, the highest sphere of hell. As Billy sleeps, he's continually haunted by the vision of Spawn and wakes up. As he looks at the small girl, he decides to kill her to satisfy his itch. The girl sheds her skin and congratulates Billy for finally passing the test. The Vindicator reveals his true form as one of the 5 Philabic brothers. He escorts Billy to the either sphere of hell where he will serve in Malbolge's army. When Billy sees the costume he has to wear resembles Spawn's, he freaks out and runs away. Vindicator casually explains the suit is a K3 Myrolo suit that is a continually evolving parasite that will combine with his central nervous system for life. Uh, so yeah, kids. So Alan, again, Todd, I don't know what the deal was here, but yeah, Alan Moore basically writing some Spawn, setting the foundation for a lot of Spawn stuff here, like the levels of hell, the 10 layers of hell, uh, the symbiotic parasite suits, which again, so again, explain this. So I don't know if, so did Todd kind of tell Alan Moore what the suit was, or did Alan Moore come up with the idea for the suit for Todd McFarlane? Which again, even last issue, Todd kind of showed it was alive, but I wonder if Alan Moore filled in more of the details. And again, I'm sure once this hits YouTube, someone will tell me. But that is another. I mean, that's a big interview. I'd love to talk to Alan Moore, but I don't think he really talks to a lot of people anymore, especially about comics. He's kind of famously for years, but he's sick of the comic industry and what it's become, and even he kind of shared shared part of the blame, in his own eyes for making comics a little darker. Thanks to the Dark Knight Returns and that's not Alan. I'm sorry, kids. Alan Moore isn't the Dark Knight Returns. That's Frank Miller. I'm sorry. Yes, but yeah, Alan Moore is Watchmen. Alan Moore is Swamp Thing. So, uh, sorry, kids. It's been a long weekend. Uh, so yeah, don't roast me. And this issue was dedicated to Don and Maggie Thompson, uh, also big names in the comics industry. Mm, and the title of the story is a reference to the song "In Heaven," "Lady in the Radiator" song. So yes, I don't know if there's some inspiration for Alan Moore from the song. Not familiar with it. I probably should have listened to that before we did this. But yes, so Alan Moore, yes, laying foundation, and again, future writers. as I said, we're going to get Angela next time, and we're going to get a kind of a weird crossover with Cerebus next time. So yeah, so that's these issues, but right now I'm gonna hopefully I'm gonna pause this, but yeah, hopefully you won't. If I do pause this, hopefully you won't see any break here. But yes, I did get some Spawn merchandise thanks to my friend Love Hellfire that I was hoping to show you here. Uh, for the holidays. Yes, thank you, Lilith. Hmm. And again, I thought there was a way to pause these, but maybe not. All right, but yeah, if not this time, maybe next time I'll show you. So I got a shirt from Miss Hellfire and a figure, a Spawn figure from Lilith that's based on I must have came out in 2007 because I think that's when they said the Hellspawn, it was based around the Hellspawn series, which we'll also get to eventually here, kids. Lots of stuff there that they kind of make you wait for too. So yes, so those are the issues, and again, more history in the making. We had Billy Kincaid's first appearance. We got our first look at hell, and yeah, some of the levels of hell, and the what is actual Spawn's actual suit, and again the first issue written by someone who wasn't Todd McFarlane. So again, another and by a big name in the comic industry, Alan Moore. So yeah, that's wonder if again, and I wonder if that there's probably some besides the story value. But I wonder if this issue 8. I wonder if it has a monetary value because it's the first one not written by Todd and it's written by Alan Moore, who, and again, Alan Moore not even reading a lot or writing a lot of comics these days. So, all right, sorry for the jibber jabber here, kids, but yes, trying to remember next time I will. 'Cause I don't want to leave you alone here, kids. Uh, to show you the merch I got from my good friend Lilith for the holidays. All right, so yes, once again, thank you for joining me. Next time we'll cover Spawn 9 through 11. As I said, it's the first appearance of Angela. Uh, we'll get a crossover with Cerebus. Oh, I had Frank Miller on the brain. I misspoke and said Alan Moore, Dark Knight Returns, but no, that was Frank Miller because yes, I believe it's issue 11. We'll cover next time. Alan Moore. I'm getting Frank Miller will write issue 11, which we'll cover next time. So, yes. So please send me your thoughts. Send me your thoughts on these. Send me your thoughts on uh, Spawn 9 through 11. We'll cover next time. Send me your random Spawn thoughts. Let me know what you're like in the current Spawn stuff. And again, do you want more current Spawn book talk at the end of each episode? Uh, Again, show me your Spawn merch. Again, you can email me pictures. Anyone got a big Spawn collection back here? I got a lot of Marvel and DC stuff behind me here in my little room here, but yeah, I don't have a ton of Spawn stuff. Like I said, I think the the figure Lilith just got me as my second because I have a gunslinger on the bookcase back here. So, yes, send me your thoughts. If anyone would like to I don't know, co-host or at least part of the time, shoot me a message. And again, I love to talk to Todd McFarlane. I've been trying to get a Todd McFarlane interview for years for all his Spawn stuff, all his work at Marvel, even the little he did at DC. So yes, please, if anyone can put me in touch with Todd McFarlane, that would be great. But again, send me your thoughts. Send me them all. CapesandLunatics at gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can find if you want to help support us, find all our merch either on Teespring or TeePublic or Spring. Ah, boy, this whole. I need to get out of here, kids. It's been, like I said, late weekend. I'm recording this right after the holidays. Um, so yes, TeePublic or Spring. And again, if you just want to be very generous and just send us money for nothing, we do have a Cash App link. It is in the show notes every episode. And we have a Patreon where my co-host Lilith and I give you exclusive, uncensored content every month. And when you do sign up to be a patron, you can request topics for us to discuss. Most of our content is comic book related, a lot of Marvel and DC. Got Spawn here. We cover some Transformers and GI Joe. But again, the Patreon can be anything. So if you want to ask for comic book content, you ask for anything. We pretty much will discuss anything. The more pulp culture, the better. But yeah, it doesn't have to be that. So yeah, subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/capesandlunatics. It'll be in the show notes too. And yes, and most of the Capes and Lunatics, all the Capes and Lunatics are on social media. The easiest way is just search Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. We're on all the social networks, Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads. We're even on the Bad X. But yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. You can find us on all social media. Instagram, you can find either the two podcasts, Capes and Lunatics or Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. All right. So, all right. I'm done promoting and wheeling dealing. All right. So, yes, thank you for joining me again. I would love to hear your thoughts. All right. Thank you for joining me, especially since no one else is here. And again, if you don't want to hear just me mumbling, most of my other shows, I have at least one co-host. I have a bunch of co-hosts, so I guarantee you're going to find something you'll love, especially if you're a big Marvel or DC fan. Or Transformers or G.I. Joe fan. All right. Come back 9 through 11 next time. And remember, kids, we'll see you then when we go to hell and back.